We welcome you to San Diego, where history awaits on the United States Pacific Coast here tonight. It is a San Diego FC side making its debut in the Concacaf Champions Cup against a Mexican giant in Pumas. We say hello and welcome from Snapdragon Stadium. I am Sam Goldfarb, and here is your look at the weather. A temperate night here in San Diego. Perfect weather for SDFC's first ever Concacaf Champions Cup fixture. And what a dandy it is in the epic battle of the week in Concacaf Champions Cup. A San Diego side that has been through a calendar year of firsts, the first ever MLS season, and what an inaugural season it was. Setting records with single season wins and points in MLS and earning their way into the Concacaf Champions Cup by finishing atop the Western Conference. No doubt they will pack the place out, hoping they can continue the momentum from a tremendous inaugural season in their first foray into continental competition. Their opposite numbers tonight, a squad that is known for its history on the international stage. Pumas, 3-time winners, 13-time participants in this competition, looking to continue to build their way out of a shaky spell domestically and make their mark once again on the regional stage. That is the backdrop for what should be a thrilling test. A San Diego side that has dealt with a somewhat eventful offseason, key departures, especially toward the front line, and the uncertain future of Chucky Lozano. It certainly looks like he's out the door, and who would pick up some of that slack and production he offered. It is a Pumas side with many questions themselves that they are slowly starting to address. A shaky Apertura campaign in which they barely snuck into the play-in, a season that left many Pumas supporters questioning the future of Efrain Juarez. But in the Clausura, a strong unbeaten start through their opening 4 fixtures, and they look to carry that over to their opening Champions Cup contest here. It is a limited history for San Diego FC on the continental stage. Just their 4th match internationally, at least of a competitive sort. Did play 3 matches in Leagues Cup back in 2025, a 1-2 record, but this the first time they square off against a Pumas squad that has enjoyed plenty of success against MLS foes, but was eliminated by one in heartbreaking fashion in the quarterfinals of this competition a year ago. Pumas making their way to the pitch. So many stars across the board who occupy their 11, and a squad that is in mid-season form against a San Diego side that opens its 2026 tonight. The question is how SDFC will perform and if they can shake off any ring rust quickly. Of legends leading their respective clubs. Yepes Verksov and his opposite number, one of the best goalkeepers in CONCACAF history, in Keylor Navas, both enjoying strong debut campaigns with their respective clubs and staring each other down for 90 minutes and change. It is San Diego FC and Pumas for the first time ever to ring in San Diego's maiden voyage in Concacaf Champions Cup. Frontera SD out in full force, one of the rapidly growing support groups in MLS, and they have not disappointed tonight, packing the supporter section. It will make for a fantastic atmosphere. Relatively long trip for the traveling support, just under 2,000 miles from Mexico City to San Diego. But the Pumas contingent, not shabby either. Makes for a fascinating environment for this fixture. San Diego and Pumas taking the pitch. A first ever meeting between the rookies and the veterans in Concacaf Champions Cup. Will it be the young upstarts who enjoyed a tremendous maiden voyage into MLS, or will it be the grizzled veterans of the competition with a history of success. Croma Azul and UNAM in a matter of moments here from San Diego as the two sides take the pitch in front of a packed 35,000-seat Snapdragon Stadium. We'll take a quick breather. When we return, a look at our lineups and kickoff from the West Coast. We welcome you back to San Diego, where we are just about set for kickoff in this round one Concacaf Champions Cup fixture between San Diego FC and the Liga MX Giants in Pumas. And it's just about time to get a look at our starting 11s, starting with San Diego under head coach Mikey Varas in his first foray in a regional competition. Pablo Cisniega once again in goal, the familiar backline pairing of Dua and McVeigh. In midfield, Jeppe Sverskov, one of the top assist providers in MLS a year ago. And then an interesting decision on the front line, Marcus Ingvartsen, the 30-year-old, limited by injury a year ago, leading the line alongside MLS newcomer of the year, Anders Dreyer. The substitutes bench rather limited, no Ani Valakari in the squad. That was the eyebrow-raising bit of news when team news came out an hour ago. A decorated crew leading things here tonight. Mario Escobar, the Guatemalan, partnered by 3 countrymen as his assistants. They will oversee things as the captains exchange pleasantries in the center of the park. Of course, VAR is active throughout Concacaf Champions Cup in Miami, Florida. Our VAR officials are as follows. Benjamin Pineda is the referee, his assistant Anthony Bravo. They will keep an eye on everything in Miami. Well, for Pumas, it is a side that is in the midst of its Clausura campaign. Keylor Navas, the signing over the summer, has anchored things. The normal back line, Alvaro Angulo, the lone standout, Tony Leon, making his debut of the 25-26 campaign. It is a 5-man midfield. And then the loanee, Robert Morales, the Paraguayan, one of the many players brought in to address Pumas' goal-scoring woes. He is the lone striker here tonight for Efrain Juarez and company. Just about ready for the epic battle of the week in Concacaf Champions Cup. Newcomers against 3-time winners. San Diego squad looking to mark its first foray onto the continental stage with a banner victory. A Pumas side looking to continue to stabilize after an Apertura campaign that left plenty to be desired. Something may have to give for one of these two sides over the next 180 minutes. And potentially more, depending on how these two legs shake out. Big night for Pablo Cisniega. Took over during the playoffs after the injury to CJ Dos Santos. Plays against his boyhood club, a squad he grew up supporting during his time in Mexico City. He's mentioned what a special night it is for him and his family. It will be San Diego going from right to left in the Croma Azul, Pumas from left to right, and underway here in round one, San Diego and Pumas in the nightcap in Concacaf Champions Cup. Sam Goldfarb taking you every step of the way. This should be a fun one. So many question marks for both sides. How will San Diego fare after a long offseason? How will Pumas handle their return to continental competition? Godoy. Bombino. Place it in the half space. Pellegrino across. An early chance. The effort was scuffed in the end by Anders Dreyer. The first attack goes begging. Big night for Mikey Varas. What an inaugural season he oversaw. Someone with tremendous pedigree, both in MLS and, of course, internationally during his time assisting the U.S. men's national team. But in his first major head coaching gig in MLS, set pretty much every expansion record in the book. 19 wins, 63 points. Became just the third MLS side in its inaugural season since the inaugural season of MLS to qualify for Concacaf Champions Cup. And now he takes this show into the continental sphere. Here's Anibal Godoy playing against his international teammate in Coco Carrasquilla from Panama. Two of them part of a successful World Cup qualifying campaign. Had its twists and turns, to say the least, but all's well that ends well. That was loose from Dua. Bombino. 19-year-old who stormed onto the scene last year for SDFC. Svevskov. Bombino. Just behind Pellegrino, but he sticks with it. Effort deflected back to Keylor Navas. Mikey Varas in his pregame acknowledging that this is a challenge. Beginning their season early against a side in mid-season form, and Efrain Juarez is hoping to continue a strong start to the Clausura slate, unbeaten through their opening 4 matches. Although it was not the smoothest of sailing in the Apertura, a side that, once again, narrowly snuck into the play-in as the 10th and final team to qualify for Liga MX's postseason, and it required a shock win over Cruz Azul on the final day to get there. And there were questions about his future, especially had they not qualified. Just about sneak in, and for the second consecutive year under his tutelage in Champions Cup. Carrasquilla. It's picked up, and this is Cesar Garza. It's dispossessed rather comfortably by Godoy. Certainly a up and down first half of the year for Pumas, falling of course in the play-in rather handily to Pachuca, and some would have thought maybe that should have prompted a change. It didn't, and well, if early Clausura form is any indication, especially considering their 4-0 thrashing of Santos Laguna at the weekend, perhaps that was the right decision from Pumas' board. The message is clear. They must perform better, both domestically and abroad, if the status quo is to remain the case. Svevskov. Pellegrino. One touch from Dreyer, cleared away. Loose touch from Pedro Soma, the 19-year-old. Svevskov. Godoy. Unsurprisingly, a ball-oriented, inventive start from San Diego FC, a side known for its possessional dominance and high-octane style. This is a side that looks to dominate matches, and the score sheet was quite kind to them a year ago. Third most goals in MLS, scoring 74 tallies in the regular season. Anders Dreyer, of course, the top producer of all with 23, including playoffs. Eisner making his San Diego FC debut this evening. Soma looking back for Eisner, who continues his run. Doesn't do enough to keep it in play. Progressive start, and no surprise, San Diego knocking it about for fun, but still struggling to break down the low block just yet. Alvaro Angulo tracking Eisner step for step. Kalaskia. Jesus Rivas, recalled from his loan in the winter and has primarily functioned as a right back, but here tonight deployed alongside Garza in the heart of midfield. It's almost a prerequisite as a right back to be able to invert and deputize in a defensive mid role these days. Bombino. Godoy. Back for Bombino. Early on, the status quo and the tone for the match has certainly been set. San Diego bossing it at the moment. Looking to strike early on their debut in the competition. And this is over the top to Pellegrino, who hits it with the outside of his boot right at Navas. Bright idea, though. Luca Bombino and Pellegrino on the same wavelength early on. And for those just joining us, we welcome you into Snapdragon Stadium. It is one of 5 competition debutants in this year's edition of Concacaf Champions Cup. San Diego FC against Pumas, 3-time winners. The last of which, though, came in 1989. Looking to get back to continental dominance and end what is a 15-year trophy drought across domestic and international competition. Soma wins this back. As far as Godoy, who is fouled by his countryman in Kalaskia. Early opportunity for San Diego to test Keylor Navas between the sticks. Anders Dreyer fancies many a hit from this type of range. Dreyer hooks it in. It's a dangerous ball. Just headed over. That is your look at tonight's target man. Marcus Ingvardsson got his head to this, but was always rising and definitely didn't dip in time. Appeared to be McVeigh, actually, who got the final touch. Ten minutes gone. Here from San Diego, and Pumas has yet to find its footing. Hardly have strung 3 passes together thus far. Clever touch from Vite. Does get it back. Now it falls to the outside. Chip cross, bicycle kick. What a finish that is! Against the grain in astonishing fashion, and Pumas leads. Jaw-dropping, simply jaw-dropping. The first real foray forward from Pumas, and they score in about as emphatic fashion you can possibly conjure. The chip cross from Carrasquilla, and the acrobatic hit right into the back of the net. You won't see much better from that. And Robert Morales delivering the goods. The Deportivo Toluca Loni, who joined with the intention of sparking a often anemic Pumas attack during the Apertura slate, and he delivers a worldie to open Pumas' Concacaf Champions Cup campaign. And San Diego, despite leading, or creating trouble, finds themselves behind. It is a second goal in Pumas colors from Robert Morales. Spent so much time in the Paraguayan top flight with his boyhood club in Cerro Porteño, moving to Toluca and joining Pumas on loan with the intention of trying to get more play time. Well, he's made the most of his opportunity to lead the line here. San Diego left stunned after 10 minutes of dominance. Sverskov. First time pass, it's just beyond the reach of Ingvartsen. Back to Navas. Throughout the Apertura campaign, Pumas fans felt they were lacking a proven number 9, someone that could take chances. Robert Morales has done more than take a chance. He's taken a half chance and run a mile with it. And just like that, Pumas leads, courtesy of an astonishing finish. Bombino. Soma. Sverskov. Not quite on the same wavelength as Ingvartsen. You have to wonder what's going through his mind. An exhibition of possessional dominance, starting to show their teeth as well in the final third, and in a blink cut apart the other direction. Vite. Here is the spectacular frontman in Morales. Angulo. Carrasquilla. Runs into a thicket of chrome and azul. Soma. And here's the first proper touch for Anders Dreyer. Eisner. And San Diego wins their first corner of the night. Well, here's another look at the moment that will live in lore for the next week plus. Carrasquilla dinking it across. Robert Morales high-pointing it perfectly and nestling it into the side netting. That the difference-making moment for a Pumas side that showed no threat in possession prior to that. Maybe an excessive degree of hand fighting in the area. Sverskov and Carrasquilla receiving a talking to from our lead official. It will be Dreyer to take. Within swing, it's flicked along to the back post. No one there in San Diego colors to greet it. Pellegrino overzealous in his attempts to win it back. If there was someone waiting at the back stick, that would have been quite a heads-up flick on. I think he must be feeling like he's hit the lottery, Efrain Juarez. Their lone shot, producing the lone goal of the match. On the one occasion, they've truly shown a capacity to knock the ball about. Dead. Muscled off it by Soma. Sverskov, one of the top assist providers in MLS a year ago, ranked inside the top 10 in that category with 16 across all competitions. Doesn't have his usual running mate in Ani Valakari in the squad, though, this evening. That was the surprise news. The Finnish talent not included, and San Diego working with a short bench at that. As the squad still looking to tune up ahead of its MLS campaign. Dreyer. Now Eisner. Appeals for handball. Referee waves them away. Godoy. Sverskov. Eisner again. Can't help but think that maybe the way the opening 20 minutes has unfolded has played perfectly into Pumas' hands. Didn't open the match with much attacking intent. Now they have something to protect. San Diego will find a brick wall of so many white kits to build through for the remainder of these 90 minutes. Sverskov, Pompino, arcing cross to the back post. Bartson committing the transgression in the penalty area. It's another slick spell of interplay. Bombino's been in the center of everything. It's not a bad cross by any means, but Vartson maybe timing his run a touch early and real chance to carve out any real estate in the box. Angulo. Scintillating switch of the play towards Rivas. Cisniega may have anticipated that poorly, but bailed out by the flight of the ball. We mentioned earlier on, it is a big night for him. A native of Mexico City, of course, where Pumas is located, and grew up attending Pumas matches. 30-year-old now who's been an MLS veteran for quite some time, featuring for 3 different clubs. Entering his 8th consecutive season in the top flight of American football. Here's a lovely ball towards Ingvartsen. There's a couple of footsteps behind it. Morales. Godoy. Dreyer. Still have yet to truly incorporate him in the match, does San Diego. Sverskov. Dreyer's cross, looking for Bombino. Not enough on it. Comes loose for Carrasquilla. It continues to be one-way traffic. San Diego continues to experience resistance once they approach the final third. Sverskov. Bombino. Dua, former first overall pick in last year's MLS Super Draft. Bombino. Floating it towards Ingvartsen. Sverskov. Pellegrino in the half space with numerous options. Hunting Soma. Sverskov. 32-year-old who's donned the captain's armband since joining the club. Midway through the first half, Pumas 1-0 to the good, courtesy of Robert Morales' lovely bicycle kick. McVeigh can't quite change that with the long-range hit. Although the run of play and traffic has vastly favored the home side. Well, they seem undeterred thus far. Sverskov. Godoy, one touch. Soma, back for Godoy, just deflects wide. And he may have had Navas beaten there as well. Intricate. Godoy at the center of everything, just waits for the cut back, and that deflection could have gone anywhere. I think Keylor Navas is fortunate that wasn't a little tighter on his near post. Dreyer without swing now. Dreyer again. Godoy. Soma. Arcing it in with menace. Meisner. Joining the club from San Jose Earthquakes this offseason and immediately thrust into it. Staniskov. Godoy. Dua. Drives it wide to Dreyer. It appears he's flopped flanks at the moment. Godoy. A longtime MLS veteran himself. Dreyer. Bombino. Question now is, how can they find a way through this well-oiled, well-drilled back line for Pumas? It's one that has kept a pair of clean sheets in the last 3 matches, including a game at Tigres in which they secured their first victory in 12 years away from home against their opposition. And a night where they had to defend plenty, a first-half opener, and then weathering the storm from the top sides in Liga MX of late. All part of what has appeared to be a trend back in the right direction for Pumas in the Clausura slate. Carrasquilla, former Houston Dynamo man, has been a mainstay with Pumas since stepping foot in Mexico City about 1.5 years ago. Rivas. We inch towards the 30-minute mark, and we remain 1-0 in favor of the visitors. Robert Morales' spectacular bicycle kick on 11 minutes, making the difference. And for all of San Diego's possessional dominance and slick moments of interplay, they have yet to produce a clear-cut chance in front of goal. Pumas exceptionally organized out of possession, and they struck on one of the few moments San Diego afforded them. Staniskov. Godoy. You see him just turn past Robert Morales, and then knows exactly what he's doing there. Has the defender on his back. Easy to go down and win a set piece there. Godoy. Carrillo. Notice a Pumas side that, despite the shaky clausura in which they barely crept into the play-in round, their strong apertura was enough to qualify them for this year's Champions Cup. It's the first time Pumas has actually played in back-to-back Champions Cup since 2009 and 2010. It's been quite some time since they've been consistent regulars on the international stage in Concacaf, although they're always an ever-looming presence. And even in an era where they've gone 15 years without a domestic or international trophy, they continue to be a brand that dominates Mexican football. One of the big four in Mexico. One of 7 sides to never be relegated from Liga MX. Svetoskov. Not on the same wavelength as Godoy on that occasion. He has been the midfield metronome since joining the club. Jeppe Svetoskov, 32 years of age, joining after years in Danish football, 14 and a half seasons to be precise. And last season, exceptional as one of the top chance creators on the San Diego FC side. You look at his pedigree, even dating back to his years in the Danish second tier. It's certainly something to behold. The likes of the players that he competed against on a daily basis, be it Yusuf Poulsen or Christian Norgard, who's now making his trade at Arsenal, has played with some top talents in European football. And you see his quality whenever he steps on the pitch. Godoy. Svetoskov, clever into the path of Dreyer. Falls for Bombino, who hits it. Falls kindly for Anders Dreyer. Just over. Well, this was right where he likes it. Just on the edge of the area, an opportunity to take a touch and have a hit, and he did not miss by much. Tracks it onto his left foot. He's arguing it took a slight deflection, and I tell you what, from that angle, it certainly appears it did. Won't get the benefit of the doubt from the official, though. Well, speaking of quality, it is also evident whenever number 10 in Krohmann Azul touches it. Back in the day, attracted Brighton in the English Premier League. And if you know anything about how their scouting system works, it takes quite a lot to impress them. The referee just holding it to determine whether or not that took a touch out for a corner. What our VAR officials have to say. Checked and cleared. Well, there was some argument as to whether that did take a deflection, especially if it was off his arm. That's the shoulder. That would certainly be a harsh handball. Eisner. If you just watched the 35 minutes, you would think San Diego's created multiple chances and is 2 or 3 to the good, but that just has not been the actual reflection on the score sheet. San Diego flummoxed in the open in 10 minutes, picked apart by a moment of individual brilliance, and frustrated ever since, having to break down 10, sometimes 11, sitting in a low block out of possession. Garza, Angulo, himself into trouble. Vite, 23-year-old dynamo on the right-hand side. Looking to switch for Angulo, who does head it along. Now you see Pumas starting to gain some confidence in possession and send numbers forward. Long throw opportunity, perhaps, for Alvaro Angulo and company. Floats it into the area, headed away comfortably by Eisner. Ferskov marking it forward. It's headed away by Duran. Jesus Rivas has picked up the right back starting role through the bulk of the young Clausura slate since returning from his loan spell. Has acquitted himself quite nicely as well. Duarte. Vite. Angulo. Dreyer was there to break up the action. Godoy. Svevskov. Bombino, a main character in the build-up through the opening 35 and change. Soma. Godoy. Bombino threads it through to Svevskov with room to cross, chips to the back post, headed into the mixer and knocked over. A glaring chance for Pellegrino goes begging. This one of the better opportunities they've created. Just well-timed build up and the flick-on header from Dreyer right into the path of Pellegrino. Just knocks it over. He's arguing that perhaps there was a hand in the mix. He won't win that dispute, it seems. There's a player down for Pumas. You just wonder what tactical tweaks he may look to make. His side starting to show some flashes of cutting edge in the final third. It will require an immense degree of precision to break down this Pumas back line, but started to show some semblances of it. Both traveling fan bases in full support. Many from Mexico City making the near 1,800-mile journey out to the west coast of the United States. Of course, Frontera SD is always loud and boisterous at Snapdragon Stadium. Take another look at this chance. It's a solid cross from Svevskov. The knockdown header from Dreyer as well. It was Eisner who got that touch, and then you just see Pellegrino drive it over. Mikey Villaris knew that was a big opportunity that slid across his side's desk. For the moment, Pumas without Carrasquilla. Well, he's someone who's experienced many a Tuesday night midweek on the international stage, Keylor Navas. three-time Champions League winner with Real Madrid as the starting goalkeeper for a Galacticos side that included so many of the top talents in world football, and then reached another Champions League final in 2020 with Paris Saint-Germain. Someone who's experienced it all on the European stage, as well as, of course, in many World Cups with the Costa Rican national team. Dreyer. Wide for Bombino. Spaced across again. It's dangerous. Just headed wide from Ingvardsson. It's definitely been played out of position tonight. Marcus Ingvardsson has had to overcome an injury-riddled 2025 season. Dealt with a leg injury that lingered for the bulk of the year. Only made 13 appearances and 5 starts in the 2025 season, despite being expected to play a major role as one of the club's first ever signings. It now appears he's been nursed to full health and is set to play a much bigger role here in San Diego FC's second season. Just wonder who will be tipped to lead the line long term. That is one of the question marks as to who will be the center forward, especially with Tomas Angel's future in question. Chucky Lozano, of course, more of a wing presence, but taking him out of the fold, of course, decreases your options as well. Godoy. Dreyer. Eisner. Just a heavy touch there from Dreyer. He's had moments where he just pops up and begins to ask questions. The effort from just outside the area about 5 minutes ago, the best of the lot so far. It's ushered wide again. Eisner's cross. Navas is there to collect. Morales in a tussle for it. Soma comes away with it for San Diego. Sverskov. Dreyer. Much more license to drift as this half is worn on. And here he is again. Falls for Eisner. Arcing ball. Headed away rather confidently. And as we inch closer and closer to 45 minutes, San Diego continues to desperately pursue an equalizer before the break. Pumas right now with the advantage on aggregate and an all-coveted away goal, which could certainly define things depending on how results go elsewhere in leg 2. Duarte. Under fire from Ingvardsson. Angulo. Into the final minute of the initial 45. Pumas hoping to escort this narrow advantage to halftime. Sverskov. A rare loose touch from him. He wins it right back. Bombino. Sverskov has dictated the tempo in this first half. Dua. Wide for Dreyer. It's an inviting ball that evades everyone at the back post. And once again, another promising attack amounts to nothing. 5 minutes, though, of added time before we reach intermission. Still time for San Diego to throw more numbers at Pumas' back line. Angulo goes down. It's an unfortunate coming together between Angulo and Eisner here. Certainly no malice in it. It is a collision that Angulo got the worst of. We inch closer and closer to halftime. The question is, can San Diego throw a spanner in the works? Bombino arcs it in. It's just beyond the reach of Eisner. Godoy can't keep it in play. Carrillo. He's bundled over. You look at the numbers, and they are jaw-dropping. San Diego, 71.4% of the ball. But for all of that possession, far from enough chances or trouble on Keylor Navas's net. Can they change that here? Just overcooked for Soma, but a handball in the process. Godoy. Dreyer. Midway through the added 5 minutes here in stoppage time. Svechnikov and company dispossessed. And McVeigh commits the foul at the end of the interchange. Now you're beginning to hear some audible frustration here in Snapdragon Stadium. Carrillo here navigating through traffic and trod upon by McVeigh. It's certainly a foul. Not much more in it. He is someone Pumas hopes will stamp his imprint on this, much like he did the weekend in that 4-0 throttling of Santos Laguna, his parent club. Jordan Carrillo with 2 goals and an assist in that first half throttling of their Liga MX opposition. Part of an unbeaten start through the opening 4 matches of the Clausura that sees them sit 4th in the table on the young season. Final minute of the added 5. Perhaps time for one final foray forward in this first half. Cisniega. Bombino plays out of trouble well. Pellegrino. Driven wide, and there is time for San Diego to saunter forward. Godoy. Svechnikov. Looking for Anders Dreyer, who is onside. Now Eisner. There's a San Diego player prone on the pitch. It is Sverskov. Some late knee-to-knee contact with Concacaf. And it does set up San Diego for one final free kick before intermission. One moment that could change the tone of Mikey Varas' team talk massively. Take it short. This is Dreyer, who hooks it towards the back post. Not dealt with just yet. And that will take us to halftime. Well, dominance from San Diego statistically, but not on the score sheet. A 1-0 advantage for Pumas in the first leg of this round one clash between San Diego FC and Pumas. That man, Robert Morales' bicycle kick spectacular is the difference-making moment through 45 minutes and change. At halftime, our scoreline reads San Diego FC 0, Pumas 1. We will take a quick breather, and when we return, a look back at the standout moments of the first half from the West Coast. We welcome you back to San Diego, where we get a look at our first half highlights from the West Coast here in the United States. San Diego FC making its debut in Concacaf Champions Cup against Pumas, and they got off to a fast start, dominating possession pretty much from the jump, and Luca Bombino, an involved presence going forward on the left-hand side. But frustration for San Diego, quite the opposite for Pumas, a squad that with their first foray forward provided the opener in sensational fashion. You see them here knocking about, Carrasquilla driving to the byline, and then Robert Morales provides a moment of pure brilliance. A bicycle kick on 11 minutes to open the scoring and power Pumas in front with a crucial away goal. And that was the difference-making moment of the opening 45 minutes. San Diego spending the remainder of the time continuing to push on, but the Paraguayan loanee from Toluca making all the difference through 45. On the other side of things, San Diego did appear undeterred, consistently applying pressure, but very few chances of note outside of that opportunity. From Anibal Godoy, a deflected effort that could have frankly gone anywhere, and it just goes wide of Keylor Navas's post. We'll be very grateful for that. From there, chance after chance, Anders Dreyer had a nice pop here from the edge of the area, just took a slight touch wide, one that the referees did not see, and one that he was pleading for a matter of minutes afterward. It was consistent pressure, and as the half wore on, the chance quality did get better. Pellegrino here had an opportunity to equalize that just got driven over. But at halftime, the lone goal scored by Robert Morales, and Pumas, they hold a surprise advantage despite all of the statistical dominance you saw moments ago. Well, that will take us to another breather when we return the second half from San Diego.
It's not just a game. 27 teams, one path. Strength, madness, obsession. One cup. This is football, and these are its most epic battles. This is the Concacaf Champions Cup.
We welcome you back to San Diego, where we are back underway in leg one of round one of the Concacaf Champions Cup in this epic battle of the week between San Diego FC and Pumas. 1-0 advantage for the visitors, courtesy of Robert Morales' bicycle kick spectacular on 11 minutes, and Pumas making a change at intermission as well. Like for like, in the heart of midfield, Coco Carrasquilla, who was dealt a bit of an injury concern earlier in the first half, goes off for Jose Caicedo, the 23-year-old who has been subject to criticism from Pumas supporters over the course of this season due to his performances. Comes in off the bench, hoping to help the visitors shore up a victory away from home in leg one. Sam Goldfarb taking you the rest of the way here from San Diego. It's your look at the lineup. No changes for the Chrome and Azul as Sverskov hooks in this cross and well beyond everyone in the home kits. Anders Dreyer has been drifting throughout the half. You've seen him on both flanks, even in the half spaces, looking to produce an equalizer for Mikey Varas' men, who were dominant in the first half. Nearly 80% of the football held Pumas to one shot. Unfortunately for them, the one shot was Robert Morales' wonder strike. The visitors, as we mentioned, the one change, Carrasquilla off, Caicedo on. A defensive midfielder who started throughout the bulk of the Apertura, but did struggle performance-wise and has been more of a reserve throughout the Clausura slate. There's an arcing ball in. It's headed into the court of uncertainty. Pumas just about scrambles it away. Dreyer curling it to the back post, and that was a major opportunity for Bombino. Just a little 1-2 with Wilson Eisner. It's an in-swinging ball with menace. Bombino times it perfectly, but can't keep his shot down. Would have had the goal at his mercy. And instead, maybe caught between two minds. Not sure whether to cross or shoot from that distance. Bombino. Well, despite all of San Diego's dominance, it was actually a quiet half by Keylor Navas' standards. Not many clear-cut shots on target for him to handle, and haven't quite seen the shot stopping that has made him one of the best goalkeepers of his generation, because Pumas has been so secure out of possession and have limited chance quality very well. There's Angulo. It's won back by Godoy, although they'll come back to that earlier challenge on Angulo. Just a couple steps late was Wilson Eisner. It is the right decision from the official. Bombino. Dreyer in plenty of space. Plays it through to Ingvartsen. Did take a touch off his hand. It's the most space we've seen Dreyer have all night, and the pass got deflected. Took a rather unfortunate hop off of Ingvartsen's right hand. That's been the story. Very few moments of transition for San Diego to exploit, in large part due to the fact that Pumas is content to protect what they have. A goal away from home and an advantage that they could take into next week's second leg, which will be played 6 nights from tonight. McVeigh in a foot race. Does get there, although San Diego unable to play out of that bout of minor pressure. Carrillo. Godoy. 50 minutes gone. Pumas still holding on to its narrow advantage across this two-leg tie. Of course, next Tuesday night, the second leg of this fixture in Mexico City. The question is, will Pumas travel back home with a 1-0 advantage or more on aggregate? Sverskov. Soma. Midfielder with so much talent that Xavi, during his time as Barcelona manager, reportedly told the Barcelona board they wanted his services. Never quite wound up in the first team at FC Barcelona, but speaks to the quality he presents. Godoy. Soma. McVeigh. Sverskov dictated everything from the center of the park. A deep-lying playmaker that is a maestro whenever he steps on the pitch. Eisner. Dreyer. Still have yet to see his best. Sverskov. Wide for Bombino. Darts in on his left. Cross cleared away rather comfortably by Nathan Silva. And Morales looking to break the other way now. Instead, Godoy is there to pick up the mess. Dreyer. Godoy. Eisner. Godoy has room to shoot, and he strikes wide. Well, he caught this cleanly, but I don't think he caught it with the knuckle he intended. Just slices off that left boot. Was certainly hoping that it would maybe knife toward that far side corner. Promising signs continue, though, from San Diego. Sverskov. Dreyer lets it run. Pellegrino is through and drags it wide. And was that the moment? Incredibly inventive. Dreyer just lets it run, the awareness to know Pellegrino's through on goal, and he just doesn't get his angles right. Navas makes himself big, and it just knuckles all wrong off of Pellegrino's foot. Mikey Varas thought that that was the equalizing moment. They'll have to continue to wait for that first ever Champions Cup goal. Sverskov. Pellegrino. Godoy. Soma. Bombino. Cross out for yet another San Diego corner. Third corner of the match for the Chrome and Azul. See Pedro Soma just waits to run a Bombino. Once again, plenty of room for him to whip this ball in, but so many numbers behind the ball. And ultimately comes off the face of one of the Pumas defenders. Yet another corner for San Diego with outswing. Headed away only as far as Eisner. Sverskov, one touch, get the sense that Pumas may be in for an aerial onslaught for the remainder of this, as the foul throw sounds against San Diego FC. It's important to note, it's not the deepest bench here tonight for San Diego, not even filling out the entire allotted spots they can on their subs bench. No Ane Valakari in the squad, one of their top midfield presences a year ago, not to mention many of the new signings they made in the winter. We will not see a debut for Lewis Morgan or a few other of the new additions San Diego's made. Dreyer to the back post. It's headed along. Falls for Sverskov. Didn't contact that the way he'd hoped. Dreyer again. Sverskov toward Godoy. It is Annabelle Godoy. Falls for Eisner. And again, no one there to greet it in Cromer Azul. Morales might have a chance the other direction. And awaiting support. Dua did well to make himself an obstacle. We inch towards the hour mark, still 1-0 to Pumas. Dreyer. Godoy. Sverskov. Dreyer towards Sverskov again. Falls for Godoy. Eisner back into the mix. Navas was caught awkwardly in no man's land, but ultimately going out for a goal kick. Once again, another promising spell of interplay that doesn't amount to much. It's inventive from Dreyer, and then neither Sverskov or Godoy can get a clean hit to it. Dreyer, it's a loose pass now. That was equally loose. Sverskov. Bombino. Soma. Back for Bombino. Yet another corner for San Diego. This time taken short. Soma. Eisner. Trying from long range. We are hearing word that San Diego is readying a change. The English-born Alex Mighton spent time in the Nottingham Forest Academy after actually being born in West Hartford, Connecticut. Getting set to replace Marcus Ingvartsen up top. Dreyer. Starting to find his range in this fixture now. Sverskov. Bombino. 1-2. Cross lacked the quality required. He's been one of the brightest presences, Luca Bombino. 19 years of age, emerging as a regular fullback starter last year. Here tonight, looks in midseason form. Dreyer. Here's Bombino yet again. And another ball into the quarter of uncertainty. Maybe an outlet the other direction. Garza, Morales has support on the far side. Plays in Pedro Vite. Now the overlap. Cross well beyond Morales and company. Hasn't quite been able to replicate his first half stunner there. Continues to make a nuisance of himself up top, though. Godoy. Eisner. And only as far as Sverskov. Soma. San Diego also readying one further alteration. Pedro Soma will make way for David Vasquez. Presumably at the same time, Maiton replaces Ingvartsen. We're beyond the hour mark. It is still 1-0 to Pumas. If you're just joining us, we welcome you into Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. 35,000 strong in attendance for the epic clash of the week in Concacaf Champions Cup. Currently, Robert Morales' bicycle kick, the difference-making moment on 11 minutes. And there appears to be some cramping going on the Pumas side of things. So they'll also make a double change. So Maiton for Ingvartsen, a like-for-like swap up top. And then Vasquez for Soma. 60 minutes under Ingvartsen's belt after a frustrating 2025 in which he was limited heavily by injury. No doubt he'll get to his goal-scoring best as the year progresses. Alex Maiton, the former Nottingham Forest product, who did feature against Arsenal in the EFL Cup about 7 years ago. Now features for San Diego FC in the Concacaf Champions Cup. On the other side of things, Jordan Carrillo, a quiet night after his explosion at the weekend. He is replaced by Alan Medina, who is always dangerous on it. And one further alteration incoming for Efrain Juarez as well. Will be a proper number 9 in Guillermo Martinez, who has scored in the Champions Cup before, scored in that eventual heartbreaking second leg defeat against Vancouver Whitecaps in last year's quarterfinals. He was the man that opened the goal scoring in that 2-2 draw. And tough conclusion to the night for Robert Morales, who produced a moment of pure audacity and brilliance. And his race is now run just beyond the hour mark. So Martinez for Morales, Medina for Carrillo on the Pumas side of things. The aforementioned double swap for San Diego as well, with Maiton and Vasquez entering the fray. Sverskov. Godoy. Floating it towards Bombino at the back post. It does head it along, but right at Keylor Navas. One of the few things he's forced to do tonight. He's been a spectator for large spells, the Costa Rican standout. inside the final 25 minutes now. The fate of leg one in this round one clash hangs in the balance. San Diego on its maiden voyage in a Concacaf Champions Cup play. Some frustration as Dreyer tries to play through. Sverskov, first time hit towards Eisner. And maybe some extracurriculars starting to brew. That is Alan Medina's first involvement since stepping on the pitch. He goes toe-to-toe with Anibal Godoy. And now the yellow cards brandished for the first time. Medina and Godoy both disciplined. On the subject of attacking midfielders that have caught form for Pumas of late, Alan Medina, a goal and 3 assists in his last 2 Clausura matches, including a goal and 2 assists in a masterclass in that thrashing of Santos Laguna Friday night. Might, his first involvement thus far. What an atmosphere this has turned out to be for San Diego FC. And if you know anything about their inaugural season in MLS, this should not surprise you. Turned out fans in full force at Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego has been a city starving for professional soccer. Has had plenty of teams in the area, but San Diego FC, the biggest of the lot in their long history of professional football in the area. Mighton winning yet another set piece for San Diego. It's corner number 5 of the evening. In swinger from Dreyer, it's dangerous, and there is the equalizer. Manu Dua pulls San Diego level. Brilliant. Dua rising like a salmon, and just like that, the resistance is broken. Perfectly placed header. Twists his neck to perfection and nestles it into the bottom left. And Mikey Varas knows they were craving that. And their wish has happened, granted. A first professional goal for Manu Dua, the 20-year-old, the first overall pick in last year's MLS Super Draft. And he has repaid that investment handsomely with one swing of his head. You were wondering if the moment would come. Pumas parking numbers behind the ball. They get it from a set piece, and just like that, they produce another one. Anders Dreyer, who supplied the equalizer, standing over it. Another in-swinger, another dangerous one. Falls for Godoy, and this time just turn wide. Well, you hear the collective explosion, the roar from the San Diego faithful. They sense now this match is for the taking. It is a deserved leveler. Their side on the front foot for pretty much the entirety of the opening 70 minutes. And they nearly had a second here. Godoy just bashing it goalward, and Angulo just about wrestles it wide of the near post. Dreyer again, this time to the back post. And we'll run it back from the opposite flank this time. Pellegrino is slow to return to his feet. It's set piece chaos. This time a header that comes in from Manu Dua, so well placed, kisses it off the far post. Keylor Navas has no chance, stays on his line, but Dua outleaps everyone. And last year's first overall pick, pulling San Diego level with his first professional goal on the continental stage. Dreyer this time with outswing. Headed away confidently, only as far as Eisner though. McVeigh has space to roam into. Godoy. They have the wind in their sails now. Across, Bombino. Dreyer's cross. Another corner. And the set piece count is racking up rapidly now. This is a moment where Pumas needs to weather the storm. Have fallen into a pattern of constant defending. Finally, their defense is breached and they look to be wobbling. Efrain Juarez beginning to contemplate adjustments. And he may be forced into one with one of his players still on the deck. It's Jesus Rivas, who is now back to his feet. Dreyer starting to get target practice from both corner flags. Another outswinger. This time no one in chrome or azul nearby. Eisner. Falls for Bombino! That would have been something special. He catches this sweetly. Headed away, first time just lashes at it and just sails over the bar. That would have blown the roof off Snapdragon Stadium. Dreyer turns past one, Anders Dreyer, right at Keylor Navas, who's into his first real save tonight. Suddenly, the floodgates beginning to teeter for San Diego FC. Well, for those that are just joining us, we welcome you to the West Coast here in the United States, in San Diego, California. We're all square between San Diego FC and Pumas. The early opener from Robert Morales in sensational fashion on 11 minutes. Pumas parking the bus, looking to protect their advantage, but unlocked by Manu Dua on a corner kick, and now feeling the pressure, it seems. Svedovskov. Bombino chasing after this, and he will win the foot race. Across for Anders Dreyer. Bombino. Dreyer continuing his run. Back for Vasquez. Well, a friendly reminder that a week from tonight, next Tuesday, the second leg of this fixture in Mexico City, Pellegrino chipped across, out for yet another corner. This time Vasquez taking it short and quickly. Svedovskov, inventive ball to Dreyer toward the back post. Mighton giving chase. Now Dua the goal scorer. Eisner. Menacing ball, and San Diego leads. Vasquez pulls them in front, and they've pulled off the turnaround. The 19-year-old, the substitute, providing a moment of pure bedlam for the San Diego faithful. It's just patient build-up. A lovely cross from Wilson Eisner, and David Vasquez is there to greet it. San Diego 2, Pumas 1, and it is one for the picture books that. They knocked on the door. They continued to knock, and they've bursted it down. Maiton. David Vasquez, the 19-year-old who joined from Philadelphia Union, with his first touch of consequence, pulling San Diego in front with a perfect header. Joined initially on loan in late July, acquired on a permanent basis on December 9th. And what a move that looks to be. One of the many young talents San Diego has put their faith in that has now delivered. And Alvaro Angulo remains down on the deck for Pumas. We'll see what it means to Frontera SD. Watch their side for the better part of an hour. Battle back against 10, 11 men behind the ball. Manu Dua unlocking them on a corner. David Vasquez throwing up potential winner in the mix 7 minutes later. From 1-0 down to 2-1 up. And at the moment, San Diego's maiden voyage in a Concacaf Champions Cup looks to be off to a flying start. Still have time to see this one out, but now they will force Pumas out of their shell. A side that defended so resolutely through the majority of this fixture now must chase it for the first time tonight. It is a Pumas side that has not suffered defeat in the year 2026. 2 wins, 2 draws to open their Clausura slate. They have shown resilience. Trailed Leon for large spells on January 18th and did find an equalizer in the final 15 minutes. Now they hoof a long throw into the mix and overly aggressive, trying to win the initial header. Well, you think about San Diego and the chances they've taken on many young players. Wilson Eisner, the man who played in that cross, joining from San Jose Earthquakes this offseason. He provides the ball on a silver platter for Vasquez. Someone who cleared end-of-year waivers after his contract expired with San Jose Earthquakes. Spent a lot of time in MLS Next Pro with the Town FC. Now in one of his first major MLS first team appearances. Puts his stamp on it. Into the final 10 minutes now. Maiton. Dreyer on the turn. Looking through for Pellegrino. Bombino. Godoy. Eisner. Dreyer. Hooking into the back stick. It's saved. Mighton drives it home. They may just run away with the tie. 3-1. He managed one goal in the entirety of last season with San Diego FC. He manages a goal on the big stage here to make it 3-1. Once again, Dreyer at the controls. A terrific ball to the back post. Vasquez gets the header to it. Navas makes a quality save, but right into the path of Mighton, and he won't have many easier than that. Just spreading apart this Pumas back line, and Mighton capitalizing. A pair of substitutes making the difference for San Diego FC. And they have taken significant control of the tie now. Entered the final half hour at real risk of trailing ahead of the second leg. They now hold a commanding advantage. And now both sides making changes. Pedro Vite being replaced by the new signee, Uriel Antuna, who's hoping to rediscover the form he produced at Cruz Azul. Meanwhile, Ian Pilcher into the action for Amal Pellegrino, as San Diego now starts to lock up shop. Kieran Sargent also in the mix, a former Houston Dynamo man making his San Diego FC debut. A pair of defenders on for Mikey Varas as his side looks to see this out. Well, this is the excitement Concacaf Champions Cup delivers, and in the epic battle of the week, San Diego FC looks poised to come out on top. A trio of tallies in rather rapid succession within 12 minutes of one another. Dua in the 69th, Vasquez in the 76th, Mighton in the 81st. And San Diego FC with a commanding advantage as they approach leg 2. Dreyer. He's certainly put his imprint on this second half. Sverskov hooks it in once again towards Vasquez. Appeals for handball now from Dreyer. Referee waves them away for now. This is Angulo. Turns on the afterburners. McVeigh wins it cleanly. Godoy. So Eisner making way for Pilcher. That's a like-for-like alteration at right back in Pilcher throughout the entirety of the postseason, playing out of position at right back for San Diego FC due to a combination of injuries and unavailability at the position. McVeigh ranging forward from center back now. Godoy inching towards the final 5 minutes. The Chrome and Azul in control. Dreyer perfectly into the path of McVeigh, knocked across, and it's in! Bombino at the source. San Diego in front 4-1. The route is on in San Diego. Luca Bombino claiming the goal. VAR is checking it as we speak. But as things stand, it is 4-1 in favor of San Diego FC. Bombino just racing to it. Pumas clumsily failing to clear this, and Bombino makes them pay. They frankly should have done much better with this. Navas was tracking over his center back in front of him, and Nathan Silva does not handle that well. And Luca Bombino knocking it in to make it 4-1 to San Diego. It was a performance worthy of a goal from Luca Bombino, and he now has that goal. Joining from LAFC last season, carving out a regular spot at left back, and at 19 years of age, looks like one of the brighter young fullback presences in MLS. Tonight will certainly aid the wave of hype he will receive. It was an aura of nerves and frustration. At halftime, it's become a party-like atmosphere in San Diego. 4 second-half goals by San Diego FC, and as things stand, in complete control of this two-leg tie in round one. Godoy. Vasquez gives chase. First-time cross claimed by Navas. And how often do you see a side with Keylor Navas throughout his entire career concede 4 goals? That's a testament to the way San Diego has flipped a switch here this evening. At 1-1, it looked like the floodgates were teetering. The floodgates have opened. They've been knocked down, and San Diego has been ruthless in front of net. Dreyer. Inching towards the 90-minute mark. And the home side still looks far likelier to score. Pilcher. Bombino, the most recent goal scorer for the Chrome and Azul. Some issues out of goal by Cisniega, and the question is, was that a handball? It appears it was. And now our lead official, Mario Escobar, will stop the action and get this all sorted out. It's an unintentional handball by Pablo Cisniega, but he's booked nonetheless. Did occur outside the area, so that will offer an appetizing set-piece position, and VAR is now looking at this to see if it warrants more action. Certainly unintentional. The arm's not in a natural position, but it appears it will just be a yellow card. Sets up Pumas with a set-piece, and if they can pull one back, the tie would look slightly more manageable heading into Mexico City next week. It's Uriel Antuna, the 28-year-old, who will do the honors in the final minute of the initial 90. Antuna arcing it in. Angulo gets ahead to it. Medina. Early cross from Duarte, and it is right at Cisniega. We enter added time. And as things stand, San Diego will take a comprehensive advantage into the second leg next week. An outcome that did not look likely at halftime. Six minutes of added time separate us from full time here in leg one. in the epic battle of the week in CONCACAF, and it has been an epic second half for San Diego. Bombino. At this point, San Diego can knock it about and perhaps even inch towards the corner flag as the minutes tick. Godoy. Bombino. Knocked over the top. It's kept in play by Sargent. Dreyer. Not quite on the same wavelength as his counterpart in Bombino there. It appeared it might have been a frustrated night for him. Anders Dreyer had a few chances that went begging in the first half. He has been at the center of everything, though, going forward here in the second. An assist to his name, and very well feels like should be credited with another indirectly, kickstarting all of the action that led to the third. Angulo. Can Pumas procure a lifeline before full-time strikes? Garza. Caicedo. Hunting the run of Angulo. The flag stays down, and now it shoots up. One more change awaits. Anis Saidi, the 17-year-old, the youngster, who made just one appearance for San Diego FC last season, replaces Anders Dreyer here, who will go off to a deserved ovation from the Frontera SD. Meanwhile, Anis Saidi gets his opportunity for the first time in Concacaf Champions Cup action, joining the club from Philadelphia Union 2. Last winter is seen as one of the top young talents that doesn't feature regularly for San Diego. Played big minutes for Tunisia's U17 side last year in the U17 AFCON as well as the U17 World Cup. Well beyond the midway point of the added 6. Duarte. Medina. Chips it into the half space for Angulo, who knocks it right towards Cisniega. What a turnaround this has been for the Chrome and Azul in this second half. 4 different goal scorers. The equalizer from Manu Dua, David Vasquez the winner, and then Maiton and Bombino for good measure. The best case scenario look at halftime looked to maybe be a narrow advantage ahead of leg 2. This is defying probably everyone's wildest hopes as they entered the venue tonight, especially for a side kicking off its 2026 campaign more than 2 weeks before its MLS opener. Caicedo does dispossess Dua here. Garza is fouled. Final minute of the added 6, and this is likely Pumas' last chance to narrow the gap before next Tuesday night's second leg. A side that went out against an MLS team in heartbreaking fashion in the quarterfinals last year will be in danger of suffering the same fate, this time in more comprehensive manner. week from today. Antuna. Played back to the former Cruz Azul man. Rivas. Medina. It's an arcing ball. It falls at the back post. Knocked across the face yet again. No one there in white to greet it. Appeals for the Pumas faithful. Appeals that have been ignored for the time being. There is still a Pumas player down. It is Angulo, who's taking quite the beating physically tonight. He's put his body on the line. One of the more industrious players for Efrain Juarez. You see here, continuing to go after this, and on the initial header, took a whack across the face, it seemed. And the referee has blown the full-time whistle. San Diego's maiden voyage in Concacaf Champions Cup is off to a dream start. Mikey Varas' men 4-1 victors, completing the turnaround of turnarounds after trailing 1-0 at halftime. 4 goals after intermission do the job for the Chrome and Azul. A dominant performance that is now reflected successfully on the score sheet for the home side. They make a major statement ahead of their second leg clash with Pumas in a week's time. It finishes San Diego FC 4, Pumas 1. And what a dominant display from the hosts here tonight. Goals from Manu Dua, David Vasquez, Alex Mighton, as well as Luca Bombino making the difference. Anders Dreyer at the center of everything in the build-up, including assisting the Dua equalizer that led the floodgates to burst. It was deserved. You look at the numbers across the board, they all favor San Diego, and a night that threatened to be frustrating at halftime ends in a party-like atmosphere at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll step aside quickly to take a look at some interviews with the players involved, and when we return, a look back at our stats and highlights from the 90 minutes that just transpired. Stick with us here from San Diego.
Uriel, 4 goles esta noche en contra de ustedes. ¿Cómo te sientes y cómo se espera en el partido de vuelta?
Bueno, primero que nada, creo que estamos tristes obviamente por el resultado. No nos esperábamos esto, pero bueno, al final de cuentas el equipo luchó, el equipo estuvo corriendo los 90 minutos y bueno, al final de cuentas vamos a esperarlos allá en casa. No queda de otra más que ir por el partido, proponer. Sabemos que en CU es difícil para los equipos más que en la altura y todo, y hay que aprovechar todos los beneficios que tenemos allá en nuestra casa y con nuestra gente.
Uriel, justamente lo mencionabas, esas 180 minutos. ¿Cuál va a ser la pieza clave para poder ahora sí pasar esto a la historia y pensar en lo que viene?
Obviamente creer, que todos estemos juntos, creer en que se puede, nunca darnos por vencido. Creo que es el sello del equipo y creo que tenemos las capacidades, tenemos los jugadores, tenemos la técnica para poder darle vuelta a esto.
Uriel, por otro lado, ¿qué decirle a tus compañeros ahorita? Unas palabras de aliento dentro del vestuario.
No, tranquilidad, como dijiste, son 180 minutos, corrieron 90, obviamente sabemos que va a ser difícil, sabes, que va a ser complicado, pero como te repetí, como te dije, en nuestra casa, con nuestra gente, es muy difícil para los equipos más viniendo de acá, que vienen de la playa, para la altura, creo que es difícil sacar los beneficios que se puedan para poderle darle vuelta y obviamente, como te dije, creer, darle tranquilidad obviamente, y no quiere decir pasividad, sino que tener paciencia para trabajar el partido con tranquilidad y obviamente siendo decisivos a la parte de atacar.
Uriel, dime ahora un mensaje para la afición de Pumas.
Nada, gracias por el apoyo, que todos juntos podemos sacar esto adelante. Obviamente no está definido, es difícil, pero no está definido y nada más que crean en nosotros y juntos podemos darle vuelta.
Perfecto, y por último, ¿cómo te has sentido vistiendo estos colores?
Contento por estar acá, contento por regresar a Ciudad de México, mi familia, mis hijos, mi esposa están contentos y bueno, a seguir creciendo como futbolista, como persona y disfrutar este camino.
Perfecto, muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Muy amable.
Knowing how important it was to get 3 points in the home leg, how huge was it to not only get the equalizer but attack on three more goals for aggregate?
Yeah, no, it was huge because, you know, in this tournament we have the away goals rule. So it's important to get as much of a gap as we can before going into Mexico because we know that'll be a difficult game. So yeah, really important, really important.
And how great is it to have such a high-profile, meaningful match in front of a great crowd this early in the season?
It's spectacular. The fans know it. It was a huge game, the first of its kind in the club's history, so we're very happy about that, but we know this is just the beginning, so thank you again to the fans. They were incredible tonight, and we're going to keep pushing for more next week.
Good luck in the second leg.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We welcome you back from San Diego as you get a look at our full-time stats here at Snapdragon Stadium. A deserved 4-1 victory for San Diego FC against Pumas. A 22-4 shots advantage, not to mention the possessional edge that is definitely befitting of a side that controlled the run of play. For a while, it looked like maybe it'd be a frustrating night. Instead, it wound up being a dominant night that ends in celebrations all around. It began with San Diego making their debut in the competition against Pumas, the three-time winners, and it looked like early on Pumas would score and frustrate them, and score they did. Their only chance really of the first half, and what a chance it was. Carrasquilla driving to the byline, chipping it to the back post, and Robert Morales procuring one of the goals of the tournament thus far. A pure bicycle kick that he drives into the bottom right corner. No chance from Pablo Cisniega, and on 11 minutes, San Diego trailing. But after the restart, they completely put pedal to the metal. Manu Dua in the 69th minute, a towering header in which he rises above everyone and gives Keylor Navas no chance. 7 minutes later, Wilson Eisner, a pinpoint cross. David Vasquez there to greet it and make it 2-0. And from there, the floodgates would open for San Diego FC, turning a 1-0 halftime deficit into a 4-1 advantage ahead of the second leg. Alex Mighton on 81 minutes, pouncing on the rebound after Vasquez asking questions with his header, and Mikey Varas and company knowing from there they'd have an advantage in Mexico City. And they tack on one more for good measure. Anders Dreyer continuing to cause havoc. McVeigh across, and this is so poorly dealt with by the entire Pumas defense. There to greet it is Luca Bombino, who marks a terrific performance with San Diego's 4th goal of the night. It finished 4-1 to San Diego FC with 4 goals in the final 22 minutes. Full domination from the hosts. That is where things will wrap up here from the Pacific coast of the United States. San Diego Football Club, 4 goals in the second half to cruise to a 4-1 victory. They turn around a 1-0 halftime deficit into a dominant display. They'll take a 4-1 advantage on aggregate into the second leg next Tuesday night. For our terrific crew from San Diego, I'm Sam Goldfarb saying so long, where it finishes San Diego FC 4, Pumas 1. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. From San Diego, signing off.